What is up, Disney nerds? Today, I just came back from watching this movie called 65, starring Adam Driver. This is going to be a non-spoiler review, spoiler-free. So let's jump right into it. Adam Driver is, of course, an amazing actor, in my opinion. You know, he is Kylo Ren, and he was in Marriage Story, which I actually really liked. But this movie, 65, just, for me, it wasn't good. I'll be honest with you, I did not like this movie, really. I expected this movie, from the trailer, to be really good. I walked in the movie theater with very, not very high expectations, but high enough that this movie just absolutely flopped for me. It was better than Jurassic World Dominion for me, but overall this movie was not good. And I'm gonna break it down with each category, and I won't spoil the movie for you, even though there really isn't much to spoil, because for me this movie was just very dull. But yeah, let's get into it. So you guys know how I break down my reviews. We're gonna go from category to category. Starting off with plot, I'm giving 3 out of 10. For me, this plot of this movie was very lifeless. The beginning, I was like, oh, this is very interesting. This is not what I really expected. And then I just kind of felt like, after the beginning of the movie, after the title card, it just really got very boring, man. And I don't know, there wasn't a lot of action that much. I don't know, it just didn't really feel enough. It had a great concept, you know, what will future people or futuristic people do with the past, and it was such a cool idea, but they weren't doing anything. It just felt very lifeless, and it felt very boring. I was bored with this plot, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, 3 out of 10. Next, we have visual, which was actually the best part of this movie. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. The visual effects were actually really good, and the cinematography, everything like that. Visually speaking, the dinosaurs looked very realistic. The background looked very realistic. The asteroids, everything like that, the spaceships, everything looked very good visually. And sadly, that's the only good thing about this movie for me. The only good thing about this movie was the visual effects, and if the visual effects were just not as good as they were, this movie would have been very boring. It would have been very lower. It probably would have been a 1 star. However, this movie, visual effects really made it good. It made it better. The visual effects for me were better than the Jurassic World Dominion and Jurassic World The Lost World, or whatever it is, the second one, the second Jurassic World. They were better than, you know, they were better visual effects than most of the Jurassic Park even movies. These visual effects were very good. The cinematography, like I said, was amazing. So yeah, it was really good. 8 out of 10. Nothing too impressive, because we didn't get to see too many dinosaurs, I felt. I would have loved to seen a bit more. And I felt like that's what it was missing too. I felt like there wasn't enough dinosaurs in this movie as what they were promoting. Now, next category, we have acting. Like I said, I love Adam Driver as an actor. In Marriage Story, I loved him. It was incredible. I thought his performance in Marriage Story was amazing. But this, however, I felt like it wasn't. He wasn't his best, I felt like. I felt like it could have been better. There wasn't a lot of actors in this movie. It was mainly Adam Driver, Adam Driver's daughter, and then that girl, I forget what her name is, but she doesn't speak English, and that's really all that is in this movie. That's it. So you're relying on 3 characters to produce good acting, and Adam Driver's really the only one, and Adam Driver's daughter, or the Adam Driver's character's daughter, is honestly the best acting that I've seen in this movie. Adam Driver, I feel like, could have been a little bit better with his acting ability. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 10, if I didn't already say that. Or a 3 out of 10. I think a 4 out of 10. Because it wasn't awful, but it could have been better. It wasn't great. I honestly didn't really care for the acting. It could have been a lot better. Now, soundtrack, I'm going 2 out of 10. Soundtrack was just boring. There was really no good music or anything, or background noise, like soundtrack, like there wasn't anything. Like, I mean, unless you like to hear dinosaurs growling as your soundtrack. I mean, I can't really blame them for having like a bad soundtrack because that you can't really use much, but I would have liked to hear at least a bit of interesting like music when like there's like a chase scene or something. It wasn't that good with the background music. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit too picky with this movie because I didn't really care for it that much with the soundtrack or even overall. Now, action, I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 10 action. This could have had better action scenes. I felt like there wasn't enough dinosaurs, like I said, enough action scenes. But when there was action scenes, it was pretty alright. You know, I was very suspenseful with this one scene where they were fighting the T-Rex in the cave. That was in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler. And when they were fighting the dinosaurs, there was a few scenes that I was like, oh, that's very cool. But besides that, there really wasn't much, and that's why I said there is like the first half I felt like was extremely boring for me. And this movie is only an hour and 30 minutes long. So for it to be a bit boring in the first half, that says a lot because this movie's only an hour and a half. If it was like a 2-hour-and-a-half movie, I could be like, alright, well, you know, it could have been shorter and you could have cut out a lot of scenes. You can't really cut out much. With this movie, all you need to do is add more. I feel like there wasn't enough of this movie, and I feel like if there was more explanation or a little bit slower down pacing wise, this movie could have been a lot better. And that's the main problem I feel like with this movie. It just needed to be a little bit slower with the pacing, and I feel like it was a bit too rushed. Now, enjoyment, I'm giving a 2 out of 10. I did not enjoy this movie. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of when it was the ending, I laughed over just kind of shock of being like, that's it? Like, there's no more? Like, I felt like this movie was just extremely boring, like I said, so I was not enjoyed at all, except for maybe the final fight scene. That's really it. I was more making fun of this movie than actually enjoying it. And I feel bad because I was actually really looking forward to this movie. And I was really looking forward to Adam Driver. You know, I really like Adam Driver. He's a great actor. But this movie just wasn't it. I'm sorry. Like, it didn't feel enjoyable. It didn't feel enjoyable. And, like, if I walked in probably expecting, like, Cocaine Bear, I might have liked it. But this movie was meant to be serious. And, like, I know I'm planning on making a movie, and I'm trying to not make it serious because I know that it won't be like an amazing film, and I feel like these people were trying to make it where it could be the next blockbuster movie, kind of like Moonfall. This movie reminds me of this year's Moonfall, where Moonfall was like trying to be serious and it was trying to be the next big sci-fi film. And then I think after marketing, they were like, oh, it's not going to be. This movie, I feel like, thinks that it's Moonfall. Like, this movie is Moonfall for this year. It wasn't good. Like, I wished it was better. I wished it was so much better because it had so much potential, but it just flopped for me. Now, the ending, I'm giving a 4 out of 10. Personally, I think I'm giving this a bit too much for the ending. The ending fight scene was just alright, you know? It wasn't that amazing, and then like, it just wasn't great. Like I said, when it ended, I was just like, kind of like a chuckle, and then I grabbed my things and left. People stayed in the theater, probably expecting the post-credit scene. I didn't even wait, because I was just like, even if there is a post-credit scene setting up for future possibilities, this movie's not going anywhere, and even if it does, I really don't care, because I just didn't really care for this movie. So yeah, like, a 4 out of 10, I guess, because the final fight scene was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. But I think at the end, I just really did not care about this movie. And that's why my overall score is a 4 out of 10 or a 2 out of 5, because it wasn't like extremely awful, and it was not as bad as Jurassic World Dominion. It just wasn't as good as I hoped. It was definitely underwhelming. This movie was very slow when it came to its things, and I would have liked to seen it a bit longer. Like, I felt like the pacing was a bit quick, but I also felt like the stuff that they had was boring. I would have liked to seen more action scenes from this movie and less, you know, like, backstory. And I know that sounds awful to say, but for this movie to only be an hour and 30 minutes long, which I know is normal back in like the 80s, but an hour and 30 minutes long, you can't have just backstory for half the movie. You gotta give some more, like, dinosaurs. Like, I wanted some hardcore dinosaur scenes, very cool, like, and there was like a few of them, but there wasn't like a ton. Like, I wanted to be like, oh my gosh, like, I wanted amazement from this movie, and I just did not get that. So let me know what you guys think. Am I being a bit too harsh on this movie? So yeah, I don't know if I am or not. Maybe I'll grow to like it later on. But right now, I'm not a big fan of it. So yeah, please like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, and comment down below what do you think of this movie. With that being said, see you out. Peace!